What's up guys, LeGrand here with LeGrand Metalworks. I'm here at ESAB HQ, Center for Excellence, and today we're going to be going over the 70 Plus Cutmaster. The Cutmaster is able to deliver 70 amps of cutting power and slice through 1-inch material no problem. So we're going to get the machine set up. We got a whole pile of stuff. We're going to see, will it cut? All right, starting off simple. We got some thin grated material. Let's see what happens. Yep, not an issue. Next. Got some mild steel somewhere in a 3/16 1/4 inch. Go ahead and give that a buzz. All right, check that out. Oh yeah, good clean cut, minimal dross, good cut lines. Let's go to a little bit of stainless. Same thickness. Stainless will be, it's a more dense material, but honestly, no problem for the Cutmaster. Alrighty, once again, clean cut. And you might have seen there, that's a little more violent arc characteristic, but that's expected for the stainless. So once again, no problem. And now we got some aluminum, same thickness. Woo! Melting like butter. Yep. Eat it for breakfast. Let's go something a little more difficult. So we got a cast here. If my micrometer's right, that's about 5/8. Get it set up. All right, still rocking 70 amps. Got plenty of air. Oops. We got some rusty material. I'm gonna get my ground clamp a little closer. As you see there, we had a little bit of rough start, and the reason being is because we got that built up rust. So luckily with that pilot arc, we were actually able to get down to the bare material. So now we can put our ground clamp right to that, get that copper on that bare metal and get a good ground. All right, let's try that again. Went a little fast. Should have slowed down, but that's okay. You make mistakes, so we're just gonna do it again. Not a problem. Yep, just like that. Remember guys, slow and steady pace on this thicker material. We have plenty of power behind it, but you gotta make sure you're burning that material away. Otherwise, it's just gonna be stuck, like that previous piece. A little bit different arc characteristics, but once again, not a problem. We're probably at 5/8 at this 5/8 this lower section, and then here we're probably a little closer to probably 3/4, so 3/4 inch cast. Not a problem. We got some bronze. Much thinner, but let's just see what kind of colors we can get and what color sparks. All right, make sure we get our ground clamp hooked up. All right, let's just lance this sucker up. Oh yeah, not a problem. So one thing to note here, see all that flaking off? Luckily, we got good ventilation in this building. We've got a fan that's kind of helping blow a lot of the way. When you're cutting on materials that you don't necessarily know what's on it, where it's been, just be cautious. You know, put a fan up. If you have an overhead fume extractor, great. But just be cautious and know what you're cutting on. But yeah, bronze, maybe 3/16, no problem. All right, here's a fun one. This is tool steel. Tool steel is super, super tough. So if you were to take a saw blade, a cutoff wheel, it would take you a very long time to cut through this. But with the plasma, we're able to break down that metallurgy, and you're gonna be surprised how fast this cuts. So not very long. That was pretty cool. And as funny is it actually fractured the material. So it's probably because this material is so darn hard. Fun fact, plasma, you have 20,000 degrees coming out of this torch. So I'm not a metallurgist, but I'm assuming that with this super hard material and all of a sudden you're throwing a bunch of temperature at it, it's gonna cause some failure. So I don't know if we can see that at all, but there's actually fatigue marks in that material. This is gonna be a fun one. So this is also cast. This is a window weight. So in an older home, this is how all the windows operated. You know, go up and go down. This is what held the window shut. So close to 1.75" on the long side, in the short direction, maybe 1.5". So we'll do the shorter side first, and then we can turn up and get to the long stuff. And honestly, what I'll probably do is, since I want to cut this end, I'm just going to go ahead and make a little pilot arc on this back end, so that way I can plug the ground clamp into it. Well, that cut it better than I thought. Not a problem. Now we just know we have a good grounding point, so we're just gonna go ahead and hook up to that anyways. So right there, I was kind of using the plasma cutter as a gouger. That's one cool thing about this 70 plus is you have enough amperage that if you need to be gouging material, you can do so. We have gouging tips. It's got a larger orifice on the consumable itself. Cool feature that it really just makes this product even more versatile. So let's go ahead and lop off this end. All right, probably should have went a little slower, but honestly, I think I got caught up on the draw. So on this thicker material, what happens is, since you have to go so much, yeah, I didn't burn all the way through. You have to go so much slower to give that arc time to actually travel through the material. I'll be honest, that's my first time cutting anything even remotely close to this thick. So definitely a learning process, but you know, you can't get it your first time every time. Alrighty, bang that, clean that up. 1.5" cast iron. Once again, Cutmaster can do it. So you can see we just cut some copper, brass, bronze, steel, stainless steel. Will it cut? Absolutely it will. The 70 plus cuts like butter.